Hello and welcome to another conversation with Revel Coach. And today we have a great conversation with Millen Livis, who is an expert at wealth and finances. And she shares timeless principles and a proven step-by-step process to shift your thinking and actions around abundance and financial freedom. So from publishing books to a lot of online courses and coaching women one-on-one, Millen has found a successful technique to work with her clients and so they can really enjoy financial freedom. So Millen, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Marcy and Alison. I appreciate this opportunity to chat with you ladies.
Well, I was saying before the show, I was on your YouTube channel listening to a lot of your work, and I just am fascinated by how you help your clients and how you work with them to kind of get them over some of their beliefs around finances and their beliefs around money and their potential and all that. Can I just start with asking you, how did you get into this business of financial freedom and coaching women?
Business of financial freedom. That's an interesting way to put it. Well, I was raised in a middle class family. Money was always a problem. Money was always a source of arguments and fights. And that's the ambience and that's the belief system that I grew up in and developed myself. So money was always kind of hard to get idea for me. And all my life, I worked really, really hard to get money, especially, I'm a first generation immigrant. I came to the United States over 30 years, not even speaking English. So started very humble beginning, started with $4.50 an hour working as a employee's assistant. And within 1 year, I had to really self-teach English in order to get a professional job. So like I said, beginning was very humble. And then my first professional job was an IT consultant for Merrill Lynch. I always wanted to learn how to invest in the stock market. So it was interesting how our dreams come through. So I work for Wall Street, different Wall Street companies, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, American Express, Dean Witter, Deutsche Bank for many, many years. And at some point, learned how to invest in the stock market. And at some point was very disenchanted with this kind of work with my job and started feeling like, what am I doing here? And at the same time, my marriage was falling apart. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to solve this. At some point, I became a shopaholic. I would just, I had a void inside and now I had money. So I was fulfilling this void by shopping. I would go because I work in World Trade Center. I will go across the street to Century 21, shop whatever I need, whatever I wanted to shop, to buy, and I will bring home and bring it back. That's how bad it was for me. Like I had no idea what was going on with me. Awareness was not there. And at some point, I remember sitting in my office in this prestigious Wall Street job and thinking like, do you see yourself living like that for another 10, 20 years? And it was like a inner scream, no way. And that was the moment when I said, you have to dare to change your life. And that's the name of my company and the name of my brand now, Dare to Change Life. So it's easier to say, easier said than done, but I was also not happy in my marriage at that time. So first, I walked out of my marriage. It was very hard. We were married for over 23 years. And according to my parents, my family members, he was a good man. He was a good provider. He didn't beat me up. He wasn't drinking. Like, how dare you to leave marriage like that? But I did dare. And at the beginning, it was very hard because he was not a bad person, but he was just not the right husband for me. Anyway, after I left my marriage, I rented a small apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey, and was planning to continue working as well as go to the Wharton Business School because my manager suggested that would be a good move for you. So when you don't know why you're doing something, always will get you there. So I had no idea why I decided to go to prestigious, expensive business school, but I did. And so I graduated, $150,000 loans plus prestigious golden degree. What's next? I didn't want to go back to corporate. So that was another moment when I said, okay, it's time for you to know what you're doing and why you're doing that. Not just what you do, but why you do it. What do you want? What does Millen want? And the answer was freedom. That's when it all started. I wanted to be free from being with any man just because I was afraid that I cannot support myself. Okay, just 1 second because my battery. Okay, guys, help it. Sorry, my laptop was running out of battery in the middle of very important conversation. So anyway, and so freedom was my North Star, but I didn't know how to get there. So I said, okay, so freedom, but how? And the how was you have to be financially free to enjoy freedom for real. But how to be financially free? And the answer was you have to have multiple sources of income. And that's when my journey kind of to financial independence started. I said, okay, I already know how to invest in the stock market, but all rich people, all financially free people have multiple sources of income. So I decided that I want to learn how to invest in real estate. I started my real estate investment company and hired a team. I had business partners. My classmates were trusting me enough to invest with me. And so we started investing across different parts of the country. And then 2008 happened and things started falling apart. And I started falling apart with everything. My business partners got scared. They asked for money refund, and I was not sure what to do because obviously we couldn't sell at this point. And that's when I became financially really destitute. There was a moment when I couldn't pay my rent, believe it or not, from living my American dream, living in a beautiful house in the suburbs of New York and having prestigious job to not being able to pay your rent. That was pretty scary moment. And also emotionally, I was broken because I was very much alone. My family, after I walked out of my marriage, pretty much abandoned me. Like we didn't talk much. My girlfriends took my husband's side also because, you know, they like he was a good guy. So it was very lonely place to be. And I became deeply depressed to the point that I was considering how to end my life. And that it was a lucky moment in my life. I guess it was, I can't explain any other way but the grace of God. I met my neighbor who said, we started talking, she detected something. She said, you have to meet this guy. And he turned out to be a life coach. And when he called me, I kept saying, I'm such a failure. I feel ashamed. I feel guilty that I screwed up all the opportunities that life gave me. I'm such a failure. And he said, oh my darling, you're not a failure. Failure is not a person. Failure is an event, an experience, and it has a beginning and the end. And he said, it would be end of this experience for you as well, but you've got to work with me. And I was like, I can't afford you. What are you talking about? And he said, profound. He said, you know what? You cannot afford not to work with me. And I trusted him and I started working with him. And that was the beginning of my successful journey to financial independence. I started feeling better. I started thinking better, functioning better. And within a few years, I made really good investments and I became financially independent. And I moved from New Jersey to South Florida. And then it's a love story that I have. I met this Frenchman and we dated for some time. And now we live half a year in south of France and half a year in South Florida. And that's my love and financial freedom story. It's a happy ending.
I really love that story. I love the simpleness of the mind shift. Failure is not a person. Failure is an event. And that is a mind shift. It's huge because so many people think that they are an event. Can you not hear me?
We can hear you great.
Oh.
We're listening. We're listening. Obviously, it was a enormous shift in perception because perceptions create perceptions color our model of the world, and this man helped me to shift my perception of what success means to me, what is possible for me, and that was a huge shift. And it's easy to say like, hey, it's very quickly. Mindset can shift can happen very quickly, or it can take some time. I was ripe for this. I was wide open because I was basically on my knees, and this was just such an eye-opening for me. I was not aware of how bad my condition was, how dark my thoughts were. I was not aware because I was part of the frame, and I needed someone outside of this frame to notice things that I simply was not able to see. And that's what often happens, like when I work with clients, because I was thinking when he called me, I was like, I'm smart, I'm experienced, like, what possibly this coach can offer me. And now I realize it's not about how smart we are, how experienced we are. Sometimes we just need someone who is compassionate, experienced, and knowledgeable outside of your situation to notice blind sides, right? I had these blind spots in my thinking that were really coloring in very dark colors my possibilities, my potential in life. And I was toasted at this time. And this guy really helped me to turn my life around. And that made me want to be a mentor for other people as well.
That's wonderful. And now that you're kind of serving as that person, kind of sitting outside of the frame and helping women as it relates to their own financial story, what kind of core themes are you seeing when women go from being stuck to then finally being able to turn to seeing a new story that they can paint for their future? Are you recognizing any common themes of how you get them on their path?
Of course. We're all human beings, have a lot in common, right? So many people don't realize how essential our subconscious is in terms of our choices and behaviors and habits and decisions, right? It's all in subconscious mind. And subconscious basically is like operating system under which we live our lives. So the beliefs that are stored in our belief is a statement of reality that we made at some point in our lives that we believed was true. That's what beliefs is. And many of us develop these beliefs early in life. So a lot of clients I work with, they have these deep hidden beliefs that they don't really know that they have, but they make choices subconsciously based on these beliefs. For example, I'll give you a few examples. So one woman was very smart, read all personal development books, knew that money is her friend. She was very good with budgeting. On the surface, she had everything to be financially successful, hard worker, etc. on the surface, but something was still happening with her. And so when we started working together, and I forgot to mention that I also became a certified energy healer, we started working on the deep hidden energetic blockages that I always work with my clients to help them to release this energy blockages that they subconsciously carry in their body, right? So when she started, I said, what is happening, where this energy is living in your body? And she started describing this. And I said, when did you first feel this? And it took her back to the moment when she was a teenager, like maybe 15, 16. And her father said, you have to be a doctor if you want to be financially successful. He was a doctor, but she didn't want to be a doctor. She was a very rebellious person, teenager at that time, and became a rebellious woman. She didn't want to be a doctor. So she developed belief that unless she has a noble profession, like a doctor or lawyer, whatever, she cannot be financially successful. Under no circumstances she could really get that back from someone, and it just happened to be me, it could be someone else, from someone observing how she thinks and connecting to this belief system that she had. And she had this for years. We're talking about 50 years, ladies. Okay. So that's one example. Another example was another client, also very successful, herself, working with others, helping them with energy healing, etc. But we're all humans, I have blind spots now that I need my coaches and mentors to help me with. So with this lady, for example, she felt that she had problem asking her clients, she has high-end clients, asking them for a raise in her fees. And when we started working together, and she felt like she had this energy block right here, we started working together. She had a belief based on one conversation with her father that you cannot ask for money just like that, right? It's not good. It's not nice for you to ask for money. It was something that she was supposed to do for him and she hasn't done, but then, she needed money, she asked for money. So she developed this belief that it's not noble to ask for money. It's not good to ask. And she was having these challenges, especially when her fees were raised. She literally could just not express the amount that she was charging. So belief system, super important, and awareness of what is happening with you, like why all your efforts, all your energy, all your investments are not paying off. Look into your belief system, hidden, or probably it's better if you have someone who will help you to uncover that, because sometimes it's hard for us to see it by ourselves. That's belief system. Also habits. We all have developed some habits that some of them supportive, some of them are not, sabotaging habits, right? So some women, like I, had sabotaging habits of spending all my money because I felt that, I finally have it, why not enjoy life? I have one client who used to like to say, that's the only joy I have in life. Like she was making a lot of money and she was buying designer like Armani suits, fancy cars. Spending money was her way of feeling abundant. And the problem is that some people spend more than they make, right? Some people, or they spend all that they make. So what I want to say is that many people don't realize that you've got to align your goals with your values. When your goals and your values are not aligned, very often you will sabotage yourself. Like, for example, when I was living alone and financially it was challenging, when I started working with this coach, I didn't care that I was not wearing, fancy clothes. I had a goal. My goal was become financially independent. My value, my core value, one of my core values is freedom. I have other core values, but right now it's very important that we all know what our core values are. My core value was and is freedom, and I was not willing to compromise on this core value. I was willing to compromise on a lot of things, but for me, when you compromise on your core value, you sacrifice. And I don't think that it's a happy life when you constantly have to sacrifice. Like I said, compromise is not the same as sacrifice. Compromise on your core values, that's what the sacrifice is. And I have a client who unfortunately was sacrificing on her core values for years. And now she's in her 60s. Looking back, she realizes that she has a lot of regrets about her choices and decisions. So that's why, and I know that in our culture, very often it's normal for women to have a life of sacrifices. It's almost like it's normalized, right? And I think that I invite all of your listeners right now to revisit this approach. Like, of course, when you have young children and you've got to take care of them, that's not sacrifice, that's compromise.
Mhm.
But if ultimately, if your core value is to create a difference in people's lives, like what you, Marcy, and Alison, what you're doing, you creating difference in other people's lives because this is something that is important to you. So, and it's not always all about money. Sometimes we just do something because we feel that giving to others is fulfilling for us, right? So that's why giving is so important as well. So be mindful of your values. Be aware of your values. I would suggest to all of you. Like, I know that when I'm not clear about my values, it's hard for me to make decisions because I make decisions based on my values, my goals, and my priorities. So that would be a really important kind of self-awareness that we all need. And in general, to be successful in life, you've got to know yourself and what works for you. And not what society tells you.
Yeah, like I love hearing you say that because it does, when Alison and I decided to go into business with each other as sisters, you just have a lot of people that have like an archaic rule of don't do business with family. And, there's just people that are kind of saying, how do you do it with your sister? But when you were speaking, it just reminds me of how easy it's been for us to start this because we do share the same values. And starting this program together, it's all about like, we both grew up with same mom. We grew up with a mom who was a teacher, and she really just taught us this growth mindset of you can learn anything. And we were like, wouldn't it be great if we had something where we can learn from other women and celebrate them because we believe in like lifting other women up. So it's been really easy for us to kind of start this. And in that same path, like Millen, your work is so valuable. And I can just imagine how much it's saving, a lot of trauma for some people that don't know how to get out of their own way. I know one thing that you're passionate about is like giving people some really practical advice and giving some ideas of how to get started. So can you share, maybe like take us back to like, if you were your student, somebody that has like, say, the pedigree career, the great MBA, like all the great stuff, and then they got in a place of debt and feeling stuck. Can you give some like good advice for someone that might be in that similar situation today?
We all, when people are happy, it's like we're all happy in a similar way. But when we unhappy, when we have problems, it's usually very different. So first of all, I think it's very important to have a dream. Like if you just live day to day without something that makes your heart sing, makes you feel like, one day I want to be like that. I want to experience that. This is very important. And so many people, I think, underestimate goal setting. For me, goal setting is a very essential habit that all successful and wealthy people have. You have to know what exactly that you want to create in your life, because we are creators. We create our beliefs create our realities, but because beliefs are created by us, we create our reality. Mm-hmm. So that's very important. Also, knowing your values helps, because when I was, at first I just wanted to be financially independent, and it was my North Star, like I said. But at some point, I think my failure in life, my failure in my business became such a identity. I identified with success of my business. Mm-hmm. And that was a big problem for me. So I want to remind all of you who have businesses, and we all know that it's not easy to build a business from ground up, that you are not your business, and your failure, you can choose how you perceive this. You can perceive it as a feedback and decide what needs to be tweaked. Or you can say, I'm such a failure, like I used to do, to say to myself, because, we all have monologue, and our subconscious mind is listening. So you can choose how to perceive your experiences in life. When you have maybe at the moment, maybe you have a limited financial budget, right? You don't have very wide financial opportunities that allow you to buy all the Christmas presents you want, or whatever else at the moment. Just find a way, especially if you have children, find a way to communicate this without making it into, we can afford this, right? Remember that we all model our children, and not only our children, our partners, people who work with us, our sisters and brothers, we model how we want to perceive the world by the way we act in the world. So if you want children to grow up abundant, feeling that abundance is available, feeling that magic is everywhere when you choose to see it, that's how you've got to live your life as well. So if you feel that having more freedom in life is more important for you than having stuff in life, right? So it's okay temporarily, maybe not offer lavish presents for Christmas, but offer your presence. Mm-hmm. Because basically it's your presence over presence. Mm-hmm. And what we all crave now, we crave attention, we crave activities together. We crave this connection that, sometimes when we work, we don't have enough to offer to our partners, to our kids, to our friends. So just keep this in mind, that when you think that, well, this year I don't make enough money to buy presents that I usually buy or that I would like to buy, just remind yourself that your presence should be a big, big present to all your loved ones and your friends, right? Yeah. And again, so connect this back to your values. If your values, like for me, like one of my values is being loving and a compassionate person. So knowing that, I know that that's what I would like to receive, and that's what I'm trying to give to my family members, to my clients, etc. So that's another thing. So not everything that is measured monetary can be the best gift to your loved ones. Just keep this in mind. Presence versus presence. Because we're approaching holiday season, and a lot of your listeners may be thinking about that. And then, of course, I didn't talk about having peace of mind accounts. So whatever you do, make sure that you always have financial buffer, so that if you need to take a couple of days off, if you want to buy presents, for example, and at the moment you maybe lost your job or something, you always have this little buffer that you can rely on. So that's another little practical tip. And I personally think that it's a good idea to allocate. I'm trying to talk about different things at the same time, because it's just so many things that I want to share, and I know we don't have a lot of time. So I personally automate all my accounts, right? So just make automated deposits to your, what I call peace of mind account, or also known as a rainy day account or emergency fund. So automate funds there. And also the way I do it, I have my lifestyle account. I put particular amount every month on my lifestyle account. So I don't need to keep a strict budget. I know that if my lifestyle account is short, it means that this month I spend more than I usually do. So I pay attention what happened, and how I can adjust this and stuff like that. So having lifestyle account is another simple way for me to use budgeting tools, which I think, I love what John Maxwell said about budgeting, because I know for many people, budget equal diet. It's like a bad word, right? B word and D word. So, and I like what John Maxwell said, that budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. So
Oh, Millen, I love this conversation. We are at the bottom of the hour, but I want to say I love the idea of not calling it a rainy day fund or an emergency fund, but a peace of mind fund. And then having a lifestyle fund, because that way you are celebrating yourself, you're celebrating your success, and you're not holding yourself back by something that's called an emergency. And you're able to really find that joy and peace of mind that we have. This has been such a great conversation. I'm so glad you've been able to stop by. How can people find out more about you?
well, first of all, you can check YouTube. It's called, I have my channel, it's called Millen Livis Channel Well. My website is daretochange.life.com. Daretochange.life.com. You can read my blog posts, my blog articles. And if you want, I would like to offer a very special gift to you, to your listeners today. If you want, you can schedule a complimentary consultation with me. I call it Never Worry About Money Again, where we could map your way to financial independence from where you are right now to where you want to be. Because financial independence is very unique for everyone, and there is a way to map your way to this state of being. So you can go to speakwithmillen.com, speakwithmillen, MILLEN.com, and you can schedule this consultation with me. I would be happy to talk to you and see how I could support you.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for offering that. We'll also put that in our show notes. And I love your work. And we didn't get a chance to say it, but you also have a ton of courses, and there's lots of different ways of working with you, but offering that gift for one-on-one consultation is huge. So we appreciate it. Thank you for calling in from France, our first international speaker. So thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful day. If anybody wants to stay after, we will turn off the recording and we'll welcome you to the after show part. Have a great day.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Marcy.